Greetings fellow Mist Wanderers, my name is Steve Morgan and this is DM of the Mists, covering all things Curse of Strahd and Ravenloft. I don't think this will be an especially long video, but I wanted to give my thoughts after seeing a Reddit post recently where somebody said they thought the epilogue of Curse of Strahd was quite unsatisfying for reasons I'll go into later on, and I left a comment on that post giving my thoughts, but I kind of wanted to expand it a bit more and I thought it was worthy of a small quick video. I'll include a link to the post in the description, by the way. Before I go any further, if you are a player in a current Curse of Strahd campaign, or you hope to be a player one day, or even if you're somebody who played it and completed it, this has a huge spoiler for what is official or rules as written way that the campaign is supposed to end. A lot of DMs change it, so even for players who have completed Curse of Strahd, whereas usually that would be kind of thing where it's fine to see spoilers at that point, you might not want to watch this video because it might be different to how your DM portrayed it, or it might be a detail your DM left out, depending on how they handled it. But just a warning, huge spoilers. This is DM only type stuff for aspiring DMs, people who want to DM Curse of Strahd when they are currently DMing it. Let's give a quick overview of the epilogue, which I've got on my screen here if you see my eyes going this way. So the epilogue is pretty much the final dedicated chapter of the book, and it gives some stuff such as what to do, or what happens when Strahd prevails if he defeats the PCs, and what happens if Strahd is defeated by the PCs. There's information about how if Rahadin is still alive, he might quickly swoop in and be sort of the final part of the final boss, what to do about Sergei and Irina, and so on. There's also an aftermath session which says kind of what happens to some of the NPCs, such as Rudolf van Richten leaving Barovia and his protege as staying in Barovia. And some stuff about Ismark, some stuff about some of the vampire spawn consorts of Strahd's, and things like that. There's also a section called Strahd's Return, and it basically says that there's peace in Barovia for a few months, and then the borders close, and Strahd returns. And the main criticism of this part of the epilogue is that it makes DMs think, and players, if they find out about it, think, well, what was the point? Obviously you gave the people of Barovia had freedom for a couple of months, but it almost feels like it invalidates all the work that the players did. They struggled and strived through Barovia, defeated the Dark Lord, went home, and then he's back a few months later, what's the point? I remember reading it myself. I was a player in Curse of Strahd before DMing it, and our DM didn't tell us, and then I remember reading it and preparing Curse of Strahd for myself and just being like, oof, that's rough, dang. Didn't see that coming and I wasn't expecting that, and it kind of made me think, similar thing. I was thinking, well, what was the point? I can understand the criticism, and there are people who obviously change it. There is the popular modification called Binding a Vampire, where the players fight and defeat. They kind of sever the link between Strahd and Vampire, and then have to fight Strahd and Vampire, and then, so Vampire's, I think, the final boss, and then that means Strahd is defeated for good. My take on it is, well, firstly, you don't have to tell the players. My DM didn't tell me, and I didn't tell my players when I DM'd it from start to finish. So if you want, you can have the happy ending. You don't have to tell the players, and so the players can just think that Strahd was fully defeated, and it's your game. It's not just a case of having them think it. You could say, if they ever found out or mentioned it, you could say, well, no, actually, in my version, he's defeated for good, or whatever, I don't know. But I like it, and there's a reason I like it. Because it gives the seed of an idea for a sequel campaign. So it's almost like Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast are saying, you can keep this going if you want. You can do more with this. It doesn't have to end here. And I imagine with most adventures, not all of them, I do know a couple where there's a similar thing and the villain comes back, which I won't say because it could be spoilers, but for the vast majority of campaigns, I imagine that when a villain is defeated, they are defeated and that's it, 100%. But what I like about Strahd returning is it just gives you it just hints at the idea, and it gives the idea that if you want to, he can come back. And for me, I'm currently doing a domain hopping campaign as a sequel to Curse of Strahd, where they go to other domains of dread, and if this didn't exist in the epilogue, and so I would just think, well, Strahd was defeated at the end, and that's it, and no other business with Strahd. But because it's in the epilogue, it's got me thinking, can I do something with this? And the idea I've got at the moment, my players are about level 15, and I thought for the level 17 to 20 stint, that could be when Strahd comes back. And I think that's really cool. And I'm making a big point of it because if that note didn't exist in the epilogue, if it didn't say that in the epilogue, I probably would have never had the thought to do it or connect the dots or think it was a possibility. It's because it exists in the Curse of Strahd epilogue I think, well, I could do this. I don't have to do this, but I could do this. At the end of the day, it's a suggestion. It's D&D. We're the gods of our own campaigns. We can alter whatever we like. So just to make the point again, you don't have to use it. But I really like the idea that it's there just for thinking, well, what if something more could happen? And it encourages a sequel campaign, such as a domain hopping campaign like I'm doing. Or maybe you do Vecna Eve of Ruin, which is intended for level 10 onwards, and it's something you add in that's different to the Barovia chapter, which I won't get into now. Spoilers for Eve of Ruin, whoops. Or maybe you do a homebrew campaign after Curse of Strahd, and then as part of that, Strahd returns. I don't know. There's a few possibilities with it. And it doesn't even have to be like a level 10 plus campaign. It could be a one-shot. Your players might just say, oh, we really missed Curse of Strahd. And then one Halloween, you might think, why don't you run Strahd Must Die Tonight? Which is the sort of blog on D&D Beyond where it condenses down pretty much Curse of Strahd into just Castle Ravenloft as a one-shot type thing. Maybe give them a stronger stat block. Maybe the PCs have leveled up a bit more since then. Give them a few higher levels and make Strahd stronger. That could be quite cool. And that's it for this video. I guess there's not much more to say about it, but I wanted to kind of get it off my chest and put it out there and say all I wanted to say. What do you think? Do you like the ending? Do you not like the ending, which I can understand? Did you do the ending rules as written? Did you do it but not tell the players that, he comes back, or just kind of erase that part? Did you do an alternative such as The Binding of Vampire? Did you do a sequel campaign and bring him back? Or like a one-shot, like I said, that would be quite cool to hear about if people are happy to share that. That's it from me for this one. Upcoming videos. I know I've teased a few times about doing all of the Fated Allies. So I've already done a dedicated video to Van Richten, dedicated video for Esmeralda, but I thought about doing, rather than dedicated videos for each and every one, do sort of like videos, a couple of videos that are like, 10 of them, and do a block. It is still in the pipeline, but it's a lot of work. I want to make sure I do it justice. So I'm kind of still getting it ready and preparing all that. So I don't know when that'll be ready. Sorry for people looking out for that video. May have to wait a little bit longer, I'm sorry. But I do plan to do it, just I'm not sure when it'll be. And if you're new to the channel, I've lost count of how many videos I've done, probably about 20, 25 Curse of Strahd videos at this point. And I also do Ravenloft videos where I talk about other domains of dread. And please subscribe, and hopefully you'll see some more videos in the future. Thank you, Mr. Wanderers.